What's up, boys? We are back. Today, we're going to be talking about the co-main event of UFC 314, Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler in Miami. It looks to be a really good fight, and I definitely am excited to talk about it today. Real quick, before we get into the video, all that good stuff, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers by the end of the month. We're at like 692 right now, so we're only 8 subscribers away. It would mean a lot if you could just go ahead and hit that button. But let's talk about it after I'm done predicting this fight. We're also going to be matchmaking this fight. Sorry, not matchmaking this fight, matchmaking the division in general. So let's talk about it. So Michael Chandler, Paddy Pimblett. I've said that like 15 times, but let's talk about who's actually going to win it. You know, this is a really interesting fight, and I think it is 5 rounds. That being 5 rounds does change a lot for me because obviously Michael Chandler, you know, it just depends, you know, because before we went into that Charles Oliveira fight, we were like, okay, this guy's going to gas out in the first round. And we didn't really get typical Michael Chandler in that last fight. We got a little bit more patient Chandler, and obviously instead of doing it in the first round, he laid it off to the 5th round where he absolutely 10-8'd Charles Oliveira, guys, with all those back of the head shots. You know, I don't know what Michael Chandler we're going to get. Apparently, he said that he's going to be more aggressive. We're going to get the old Chandler back. But that does scare me if this is a 5-round fight, you know. I do think Chandler has explosive knockout power. And we're yet to see a lot of that in the UFC. Obviously, he's knocked out Tony Ferguson, and he's knocked out Dan Hooker. But other than that, this guy's 2-4. Meanwhile, Paddy the Baddy is what, like 7, 8-0 in the UFC. He's finally ranked, and this is a big step up. King Ring to Michael Chandler. That's a pretty big step up, and I'm excited to see how well Paddy the Baddy is going to do, because Paddy the Baddy, his striking looked really good in that King Ring fight. I mean, before against what's the dude's name? Oh, who did Paddy the Baddy rob? I forgot the dude's name. Gordon. Against Sherrod Gordon, he looked a little bit iffy. That striking looked a little bit iffy. Even against Tony Ferguson, some moments of that fight, Tony Ferguson was low-key piecing this guy up. But in that King Ring fight, for the couple minutes it did last, he looked good, and he was able to take it down and get King Ring in like an armbar triangle, which was a really nice submission. Do I think that's going to happen to Michael Chandler? No, Michael Chandler does have wrestling, and he's going to be able to stand up a little bit more on the ground than King Ring was. But Michael Chandler doesn't have much to offer on the feet, you know. He just throws. He throws big meaty hooks. He throws big meaty rights. And other than that, Chandler's pretty one-sided. You know, I'd love to see Chandler be a little bit more strategic, be a little bit more tactical. But when you're talking about Michael Chandler, that's just not what we're going to get, unfortunately. Paddy the Baddy is looking great in his last couple fights. And I think he's just going to be able to overpower Michael Chandler. I know that sounds crazy, but Paddy the Baddy actually is very underrated power. You know, his jiu-jitsu is going to be really good. Who knows? You know, we've seen people like Charles Oliveira, who do have good jiu-jitsu, be able to out-grapple Michael Chandler. You know, I know that sounds crazy comparing Paddy Pimblett's jiu-jitsu to Charles Oliveira's, but you got to hear me out here. You know, I think Paddy Pimblett's jiu-jitsu is actually really good, and I think it's a fact that his jiu-jitsu is really good. So in terms of the fight, I do think I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett here. I just think he's going to overpower him. Michael Chandler, it's a 5-round fight, you know. Over the course of those 5 rounds, Michael Chandler's going to gas out. It's a fact, dude. Michael Chandler's not a 5-round fighter, you know. He's a 3-round fighter at most. I think he would, in his last fight, you know, he actually didn't gas out that too bad. But if we are going to get really, really aggressive in terms of that first round, then Michael Chandler is probably going to lose, because Michael Chandler's only chance of winning is in the first round, catching Paddy Pimblett off guard, rocking him. And I do think that if this guy actually does blitz forward, he lands some good shots, stun Paddy Pimblett in that first round, well, then it's going to be really interesting, and that fight could go to Michael Chandler. But if that doesn't happen, it's kind of like Khamzat. If you get past that first round with Khamzat, your odds are a little bit better. I mean, obviously no one's actually been able to beat those odds, but your odds significantly increased after that first round. And I think you can say the same thing about Michael Chandler in this fight. So like I said earlier, I'm going Paddy Pimblett. I don't know what my official prediction is, like what way. I just think Paddy Pimblett's going to be able to be better than Michael Chandler overall. And that's the honest truth, dude. Paddy Pimblett's chin, you know, we've seen him a little bit rocked in his first fight, I believe, against who was it? It was Luigi Vendramini. Yeah, that's a basic Italian name. What the heck? Paddy Pimblett's chin he's a Scouser. He doesn't get knocked out, according to him. We'll see if Michael Chandler can test the chin. But now let's talk about the UFC lightweight division, because it is in a bit of an interesting spot with Ilya Opkuto coming into this division, vacating his featherweight belt. in terms of who I think we give him, I do think that we give him Arman Tsarukyan. I do think we do Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. And I'm sorry, Ilia. I don't care if you don't want to fight Arman. I don't care if you're Georgian brothers. I don't care if you want to go straight to the title. Unfortunately, that's not how this division is gonna go. This division needs to be fixed. Arman Tsarukyan was the clear-cut #1 contender before UFC 311, before he pulled out, before Ilia Topuria entered the division. And what do you do when you have two clear-cut #1 contenders? We put them together. We put Arman Tsarukyan, we put Ilia Topuria together. Islam, as much as I hate for him to wait out after 311, where he got a really quick finish against Moicano, and he could, he doesn't have much years left in him, so it'd be really good if he can get him another title defense in there in the meantime. But these two guys need to face. I'm sorry, it's a given. Arman Tsarukyan needs to face Ilia Topuria, and then this division can move on. It's in a little bit of a mess right now because of that. In terms of who else we're gonna matchmake Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. That does sound a little bit crazy. You're probably thinking, what, dude? What? Are you kidding me? Why are you matchmaking this fight? And I'm gonna matchmake it for only one reason, dude. I'm gonna matchmake this fight for one reason. Dustin Poirier, he needs a good retirement fight, and everyone's looking to be booked. I'm not going to give Dustin Poirier, Ilia Topuria, on his final fight in the UFC. You think I want to see Dustin Poirier get knocked out, his final fight in the UFC? Heck no, I don't want to see that, man. And you look at the rankings, dude, we're going to give Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker rematch. That's just like an interesting fight. I guess we can do that. Obviously they fought before, but there's not the thing, you know what I'm saying? We could give him Charles Oliveira, but Charles Oliveira is in title contention, so we don't really want to give him someone who's in title contention. Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier are 1-1, and if Gaethje can get a quick finish against Fiziev tomorrow, we can't give him a title shot. I know I just said in my last video that Gaethje should get a title shot if he beats Fiziev, but with Ilia Topuria in the division, with so many clear-cut #1 contenders, we can't give Gaethje a title shot because he just got flatlined against Max Holloway, dude. So we do Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier to send Dustin Poirier off in the sunset, and it'd be a good retirement fight by both of these guys. Depending on, obviously Gaethje still has time left, but if Poirier loses or wins, he's retiring no matter what. We know that. And sometime in the summer, we're in what, April? Wait, what month are we in? Sorry, we're in March right now. That Gaethje said he wants to fight in like June, July. That is a decent turnaround time for Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje can pull it off. He's a beast. I am predicting him to beat Fiziev tomorrow. So, if he gets it done, even a decision, I think he can turn around quick enough. And of course, if he does finish this fight, if Justin Gaethje does finish Fiziev fairly easily and quickly, well, then we can definitely make Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier 3. Perfect way to send off just Dustin Poirier. These guys have their past, they have their chemistry, and it'd just be a great way to end both of these guys' career, if I'm being honest. The next fight I have to book is Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. I'm booking this fight for one reason, because these guys have fought earlier in their career. Obviously, it wasn't the Charles Oliveira we all know today. It was the quitter Charles Oliveira, the one who was never good enough Charles Oliveira. And this, we can main event a card with this. We can main event Charles Oliveira, not Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway for the BMF title on a random card in later in the year. I see no reason why we can't do that. Charles Oliveira, you can't get a title shot after beating Michael Chandler, dude. That's not how this game works, unfortunately. So we are going to do Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Max Holloway obviously is coming off that win against Justin Gaethje at lightweight. In terms of lightweight, he just knocked out one of the best lightweighters of all time. And I think we can do Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway easily. The next fight I have to book, it's going to be Dan Hooker versus Beneil Dariush. I was debating on who to put Dan Hooker against, and I wanted to give him Beneil Dariush for one reason, because I think this would be a very fun matchup. Jiu-Jitsu versus striker, and we said we were going to reward Beneil Dariush. We said we were going to make up for it, and what better way to make up for it? Dan Hooker should be ready to fight fairly soon, and Beneil Dariush should be able to fight fairly soon. We can put this fight on another card coming up very soon. Both of these guys are free. Dan Hooker I don't know how bad this hand injury is for him, but the UFC did say they were going to reward Beneil Dariush. He weighed in, he was good, and then obviously Moicano had to fight Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. So there's that. We got to give Beneil Dariush credit where it's due. In terms of what we do with Moicano, I'm gonna depending on the winner of Michael Chandler Patty. We could do Patty Marcano. I've been matchmaking this fight for years and years. I'm joking. Months. The months I've had this channel, I've made this fight. And if Patty loses, we can definitely do this fight. If Patty does win, then he's obviously gonna get a shot higher in the rankings. And yeah, man, that's what I'm gonna predict for this video. You know, I could give you my predictions on Gamera. I can give you my predictions on Grant Dawson, but I'm sure you guys don't really want to hear this. I booked the main eventers in the division, and that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Octagon Outpost out.